Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And it's been a while I don't post any interview here. It's because I was a little bit discouraged about, the channel, about, producing content. That happened with everybody, especially when you're learning a new language. Challenging times sometimes comes. So when you need to know how to work with it, how to solve it, how to handle with it. And but I'm back. I'm back, and this time I'm not gonna stop. I have a few interviews that I recorded a year ago, and I didn't post because I was not motivated enough. But now I'm back, and I'm continue to post those interviews and record new ones. So I hope you guys can be with me because I want to help you to speak English with confidence, but I need to be confident to do that. So I was not that confident before because of several of all things that happened to me. But now I'm back and I want to continue to help you to improve your English, to speak English with so much confidence. Okay? So I have an interview with Anna. Anna is an amazing person from Armenia, and I want you guys watch this interview. You see that her English is incredible, and I hope you guys can learn something new from our conversation. Okay, so stay with my conversation with Anna. I'll see you there. Okay, today I have Anna. Anna is from Armenia and she is living in the US and she is an amazing English speaker. So I want to just say welcome Anna to SilvaCast. Good to see you here.
Thank you so much, Fred. Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's so beautiful to be here. It's great to be in a good company, and hopefully, I'll make my input into our community. I'll do my best, at least.
Okay, Anna, first of all, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you live, and where you're from, everything, because I want to know more about your background before we just dive in the conversation, okay?
Sure, of course. Just briefly about myself. And honestly, every time when people ask me where I'm from, I'm getting a little bit confused. And then my answer confuses people sometimes. And I'll explain you why. So I was born in Armenia and I lived in Germany. I moved to the US in 2012 from Belarus. My first language is Russian, and I perform Chinese tea ceremonies. So self-proclaimed global citizen. But I love that lifestyle. I mean, I love traveling, and I'm a tea specialist, and I'm a mindfulness practitioner, and I love everything art related and creativity related. So yeah, that's briefly about myself.
Wow, so you was born in a country and you moved to another one and then you moved to the US. So how English fits on this? Because you had a background in other language, but how was your the beginning of your English learning journey, and why did you decide to study this language?
When we speak about English, very often we use this word journey, right? And it's frequently used in our community. But let me add just a few words about the word journey itself. It has kind of a weighty reputation. Why? Because people usually, we expect some kind of a mind-blowing story, this dramatic before and after transformation, But journeys usually, they're not always those rainbows and butterflies. So they can be filled with challenges, ups and downs, highs and lows, and and frustrating moments and overwhelming situations. So that's what my story was about. And, very often we even underestimate our stories, thinking that we're too vulnerable in these situations and we're not able to share something, inspiring with others. But I'll be honest with you, if even one word, and even if one story, one word will change someone's perspective, on English, or inspire anyone to continue learning process, then I will consider it as a success, and then my mission is accomplished today. So, and I'll get back to your question, where it all began. I prefer to call it process, not a journey in my case, because I'm still in the middle of that process. So it began in a middle school, back in middle school, and we started learning English, just basic alphabet, simple words, nothing special. So I mean, it wasn't advanced level. For that reason, it was all book based, and it wasn't the fault of our teachers. It's the whole education system that was lacking efficiency, and it wasn't very effective. Now I realize it, because when I moved to an English speaking country, all of a sudden I felt like I was lost in translation. When you can hear these words, they sound very English, but you do not understand anything.
Yes.
So that was, I'm pretty sure many of you guys can relate to these situations when you just feel like a baby, like you are a grown-up person, but you feel so helpless because you cannot express yourself, you cannot verbalize your thoughts, and it's not the most pleasant feeling, right?
Yeah, and when you live in an English speaking country, it's even worse because you need English to survive. Sometimes you need to go to the restaurant or order food or do something. And as you mentioned, we are like a baby because we don't know how to do that. So we need other people to take care of us because we are not capable to do what we want. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly how I felt. I moved to the US in my late 20s. I was 27 years old. And, when you feel, well, I'm a person who had experience learning English, both in a non-English speaking country and now in an English speaking country. So, and I gotta tell you, there is a huge difference, because I felt, in my comfort zone. I could, back in Belarus where I lived, because the level of my English was pretty good. I felt good about myself and about my level, and pretty much everyone had the same level, because the program was the same, and um, you there was no any urge to learn language up until you move to an English speaking country, because here it's indeed, it's not your hobby anymore. It's a tool for some kind of a survival at first. That's true.
and back in Belarus, there it was just I don't know, just for fun and no pressure at all on you because if you don't speak English perfectly, no problem. You don't need English to survive, right? So,
Yes,
but
right.
in the
Mhm.
US, totally different. So, how was this transition from I know English, but I don't need it for life to be in a situation that okay, I need to speak English because I need to survive here in this new country. So, how was this transition for you?
I'll be honest with you. This transition situation depend on your personality, right? So I wasn't the one who is capable to adjust fast. So because when you move in your, when I was 27, and I'll be honest with you, I was very, picky when it comes to having friends, because I to me it was very important to have these deep meaningful connections. But when you move to a new country, and it's at first it's very difficult to find your crowd, and if you are younger, probably you try to fit in, but it wasn't in my case. So that transition, well, it hit me hard. I'll be honest with you, and it took me a while to get used to the environment and to adjust, because English wasn't only about the language itself. The language in an English speaking country is way more than that. There are lots of cultural references, uh, you know, um, are included into that concept of language learning, because you have to shift your mindset first of all. Just you have to rewire your brain so that you can understand how these people think, how they even communicate differently. It's not a book-based situation, it's the real life situations. And very often when people were talking to each other, I wasn't able to understand, because they were talking about politics, sports, or maybe they were discussing old movies and songs. It felt like you are joined a group of friends and they have these inside jokes and you don't get them. When we have these long friendships and you have your own jokes, and all these outlanders don't get it. So that's exactly how you feel. And
how did you feel about yourself in that kind of situations?
very vulnerable, a very it just, I was trying to avoid those situations, Fred. So instead of challenging myself to understand what's going on, I even had this feeling of disappointment sometimes. I was disappointed in myself. So how come that I was an A student in my own country? And I really thought that if I moved to the US, I'm going to get the language like this. Probably in 2 years, I'm going to be super fluent. But it never happened, because language doesn't come to you naturally, organically. It takes some effort, discipline, and it requires some structure. But I didn't know where to start because it was too much. You have to understand so many things at the same time, not only the language itself, but also how to behave, how to, connect with people, because the way
and
they everything
and
was different.
and there is the cultural thing that affects your communication, your fluency, because English is not just about the language. You need to know about culture, about specific things in the country you live. So it's more than just the language itself, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And moreover, probably many people don't even think about it, that the US is a cultural hub, right? So there are so many nationalities live here. So I had many other struggles, not only how to say, I couldn't understand not only native speakers, but also those who, who moved to the US, because everyone has its own accent and there are so many communities here. And so it wasn't easy, I would say.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier to understand a native than understand somebody from a specific country, for example, because of the accent, right? So,
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
I tell my audience here on YouTube and other places about this, because it's important you be exposed the max accent you can. Because if you are in the US, for example, you will go to the McDonald's to eat something. Maybe the person that will be there, it's I don't know, a Brazilian person that speaks with accent, or a Spanish people that speak with accent. So if you are not able to understand uh, not just natives but people from everywhere, maybe you have problems to survive or to live in the country, because it's not easy at all to understand some accent in English.
Yes, right. And you know what happens when people uh, come across with the first difficulties? So they try to stick with their own communities. So for that reason, you'll be surprised to hear that so many people in the US, they keep speaking their own languages, and many of them are not even able to get their citizenship because you need to pass a test, and they afraid to go to that facility and to pass that test, because they simply don't know the language. And that was the first time that shocked me at the same time, but now I understand the reasons, because at first, when you move to a new country, if you're a grown-up person, you have to find a job. You don't have time to, you know, to learn the language and enjoy the process.
Yeah.
It becomes just a tool. And for now, English is, to me, it's like a bridge that connects me to my goals. It's not like my hobby. And I'll be honest with you, I've never been very passionate about learning languages. I just understood that. I mean, even back then in Belarus, I had a dreams to travel the world and to make friends all over the world. And at that point, I realized that, okay, English, that's the key. It's not the door; it is the key that opens many doors. And that's
Beautiful.
how I got inspired, to start learning. But I lost my motivation and this mojo when I moved here. It took me a long time to realize why I lost this sparkle in my eyes and what to do to get that mojo back, so that I feel like, I want to enjoy the process. Because very often, we focus on our goals, but most of the time the process is more important than the destination itself. So, and the question is, where is your destination, right? Basically, it can be very flexible, first of all, and secondly, there is no deadline.
Yeah.
Since we're still alive, up until we're alive, there is no deadline, basically. It's a long
Yeah.
process.
Let me ask you this question, Anna, because you spoke about your, people that live in America for so long and they don't speak English, even after decades to live in the country. And you said that you noticed that at the beginning that people, because they are just surrounded to people that speak the same language, maybe they don't achieve that. So how did you do to moving to America? What did you do differently to achieve this kind of level in English? Because you speak English very well, and you live in the US for over in a decade, I think. But let me know, what did you do that you think that, okay, I did this and this was really good for me, and I'm speaking in English right now because mostly because of this thing that I did. So do you have something like that you can say, okay, my English is it's better now because I took this way, I took this path?
It's a great question. I was reflecting on this process the other day, how I got to this point that I got better. So I can't tell you that I'm very happy about my level, because it's just the perfectionism thing. It's never enough. So, but again, it depends on how high are your standards, and so, and it depends on what you want to do with your English, because probably it's enough for small talks, it's enough, to keep these casual conversations, but it's not enough to fully express yourself and giving great speeches. I've always been inspired by those motivational speakers and always wanted to deliver my message and convey my message the same way. And but at the same time, I do feel the improvement and difference. That's right. When I moved to the US, I could literally understand two words, hi, bye, maybe a couple more words, but that's pretty much it. Although I could speak and people could get my message. That was my, not the issue, but my challenge, right? So I could speak a little bit and my vocabulary was super limited, but I had a hard time to understand people. Recently, I actually took a test. I've never know what is my level of English. So the test says it's just between B2 and C1. I still don't understand what it means, but I think that it's average. It's not bad, but I'll be honest with you. It's good for, again, for uh, you know for small talks, but it's not I'm still in the process, right? Just like my teacher says, one of my favorite teachers, he says that everything is difficult in the beginning, messy and chaotic in the middle, and beautiful in the end. So I'm still in my chaotic stage, of learning. But I can tell you just a few things that I think that probably helped me to get to this point. I opened an Instagram account just a few years later when I moved to the US. And I said, that's the good way for me to start learning English. At the same time, I'm going to share my knowledge with people, because at that time, I quit my job to follow my dream, to open a tea store. I had an online tea store before, and I was chasing my dream, and I thought, okay, I love tea and I want to share my knowledge, but most of the knowledge that I had, they were based on my native language, right? So it was really difficult for me to translate everything into English, but I was doing it. I was challenging myself, and I think that I got to this point through writing. So my writing is pretty good, but probably if I was speaking English on my daily basis, my level would be much better. So, and let's say if I had a time machine and if I could go back to that point when I just moved to the US, probably I would challenge myself to get out there and to meet up with people in real life, because as I told you, I became an avoider. I was an extrovert in my country, then all of a sudden I became this extrovert person who had been living this hermit lifestyle, avoiding any crowds and people, but I did have a few attempts to interact with natives. And there is a story. It's not even a funny story. I think that it's more like a ironic story. Um, I signed up for this website. It's called, and it still exists, the meetup.com. So basically, it's a website where um, you know, sign up for this and join the groups in offline situations, like with shared interests. And I signed up with a group with native speakers, and it was so overwhelming, and I couldn't understand what's going on there. I wasn't able to be involved into conversation, because I just couldn't, because I couldn't speak, right? So I could listen to them, but barely understand what they're saying. And then I realized, okay, my level is an ESL level. I'm not ready for interacting with native speakers. And then I signed up for the group for international students or something like that. And believe it or not, I kept getting, how to say, they removed me from the group. Can you imagine? Because they
Really?
said that you are too advanced. So my ESL level was too advanced for ESL classes, but at the same time, I wasn't able to fit in the American groups, and I stuck in this gray area where I didn't really know where I belonged to.
Like a
It was.
desert, like a desert,
Mhm.
like you don't have anything close to you. Like natives are there, non-natives are there, and in the middle, though I don't know where I belong to.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And then I said, okay, if I cannot find it, I will create it. So that's when my creative force came to, when
Oh,
I
interesting
realized
story.
that, okay, yeah, if I cannot find my crowd, I will create my crowd. So I signed up for Instagram, just, it wasn't that popular at that time. And I just opened the account. I started sharing my insights and thoughts, and posting inspiring pictures. And slowly but surely, I created this community of tea lovers, and I I met up with so many beautiful people along the way. And it was beautiful friendships, but again, it was an online, communication. I had this fear to meet up in real life. That was my struggle.
But let me ask you this question: how this Instagram account help you to improve your English? And because I'm asking this because I think it's one of the most uh, important things to do when you don't have like nobody to practice. Or for example, me, I am in Brazil. I never travel to the US, for example, and I start to do like the same on YouTube. So it was my way to improve my English. It was my way to communicate with others, and to improve my fluency, let's say like this. And I tell everybody, if you don't have nobody to practice or to speak with, go to Instagram, go to YouTube, and start to speak about your passion, about your hobbies. And this is a good way because you know about the topic, so you can share your knowledge, and people won't focus in your English. For example, in your case, you speak about tea, right? So people that love tea, they want to see you talking. It doesn't matter your English level. They want to know what you have in your mind to teach them, so, and I am passionate about this. Go to Instagram, YouTube, and just speak, just share your knowledge with the world, and you improve, and of course you will help people as well. So how this help you to improve your English?
It's a great question. Honestly, Instagram helped me with storytelling, that's for sure, with writing, so that I can reply to people in a more casual way, because at that moment I didn't even know how to reply to messages. It differs. So the communication over the messages, it differs. Even that aspect differs from my country, because people usually in the US are more like straight to the point, right? So they do not write long texts, and they just very short like this. And uh, so I tried to learn how people. I was probably I'm a good observer, so I was trying to observe how people communicate with each other through words, through writing. And yeah, just writing posts, because I needed to make my research and to translate from Russian into English, and that helped me a lot as well. But I can't say that it helped me with my, with speaking, because back then we didn't have these stories and live sessions on Instagram. Those features were not available. So basically, it was a platform for photographers, first of all, so that you could share your beautiful pictures. It was a platform for artists, right? And
I
now it's more
remember
like
that time.
about, yeah, it's about video, it's about sharing your thoughts. Now it's different. So I would say that so if you are interested into my advice from my perspective, because again, it's based on my experience, right? So I would say that find your mission first of all. So before starting even learning English, just ask yourself this question: why? That is a very important question, by the way. So, and try to reflect on your answer. If that answer comes from your mind or it comes from your heart, you will learn much easier a new language if that answer comes from your heart. Because if you have this mission, not just a small goal, that's the difference. So that's the key to be consistent in anything, like in any new project, because English is a new project, right? So if you find that mission that is much bigger than your fear, that is much bigger than any of your goals, and let's say for me it was sharing my knowledge, right? I couldn't help but doing that, because I just have knowledge and I had this urge to share with the world. And unfortunately, or fortunately, English was the only way to do that, because I could stuck with my Russian speaking community. And don't get me wrong, I love my people. I love, I love my friends. They are all Russian speakers. But at the same time, um, I realized that, okay, more people could benefit from what I do. And English is the only way for me right now to do that,
It's
to
the
deliver my
key.
message. It is the
English is
key.
the
It is
key.
the key. Yes, not just for one door, but for many doors. And it opens up so many opportunities. And because I love collaborations, I love, communicating with people. And I really missed old version of Anna, who used to be very open and communicative. And I felt like I stuck, and I'm not living my life, fully. And English again was the key to fully unleash my potential. And as I told you, I'm not there yet. I'm in the middle of this process, but I feel like every single year I get better. So yeah, if I could go back to the, first years of my US life, I would definitely interact more with native speakers. And if you don't have that opportunity in your country, but you do have, because it's a it's a new world, and we have internet. And I would definitely find some English, probably speaking partner, right? But from native speakers. Again, challenge yourself to find someone who speaks language better than you do, because if you can do it for free, there are actually websites for language exchange. Probably you can teach them your language, and they can teach you, English. And or there are lots of paid tutors as well. So you can, even students, beginners. So I think that always we can find the opportunities as long as we have intention. So intention is the first. Then we create our mission, right? And we ask ourselves this question, why? And then we just, you know, English, again, it's a project. Learning language is a project. So, and it should be structured. So, and I would try to find this balance between discipline and having a fun, because uh, that would be my actual advice. Enjoy the process. Then I know it sounds like cliche, but when we have this open mind and curious mindset, like kids, right? So we're gonna better absorb the information. So probably that was my problem, that I took English too seriously at first. I mean, I forgot that there should be some kind of a playfulness in there, joy. And probably that's the reason why I stuck at some moment, because that tension didn't help much. When you are stressed out, your brain is like blocked, and all this new information, it's like a noise. You don't hear anything, and so that you'll be able to open that portal. I'm gonna speak spiritually, to open that portal. Yeah, you have to add a little bit more easiness, and playfulness into the learning process.
And I want to emphasize one point that what you said before that really touched me in a really good way. You said that you should not uh, do it just from your mind, but from your heart when it comes to English, for example, and when it comes to other things too. Because if we don't do something with passion, with our all our our desire, maybe we are not going to be successful, because in the middle of the process we will just give up, and that's it. Because when you have a purpose to, for example, just study English, and the purpose is bigger than you, it's not just because I want to be fluent or I want to get a job, but it's because I want, for example, helping other people. In your case, you want to share your knowledge with people from everywhere, and you want to help them to know what you know. I'll ask you about this later. It's about tea, and you are a specialist, and I want to know more about this in a few minutes. But you have a really strong goal, and before you like give up on English, you thought about people that you could help, that won't be benefit because you are not speaking about that subject. So, and this is my own story too. When I decided to start this podcast, it's because I noticed that a lot of people, they are very good speaking in English, but they don't have confidence. They think their English is not good. So, and I have this confidence, so I want to help them with this confidence. And I thought to give up many times, but when I thought to give up, I thought about it. Okay, if I give up, many people won't see or learn what I want to share. So I I cannot be selfish, because if I give up, many people could avoid to receive that message. And every time when I receive a good feedback, or somebody saying, Fred, I decide to study English again because I saw your videos, and I think like, yes, this is my mission. And I think to study English, to speak English using a mission as our motivation, I think it's a really good way to learn, because it's not about us, it's about something even bigger than us.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And uh, that's why when people ask, okay, how to learn this or that, the first question should be, yes, why? It should come from your heart and create your mission. And very often people ask, okay, how can I find that mission if I don't have one? How can I create it? And if you connect and link that mission to your values, just find out what are your values, because different people have different values, right? To me, it was freedom. Freedom is number one value that I have in my life. Freedom of expressing myself, freedom of getting in touch as many people as possible. I mean, with collaborations and having these beautiful connections, to me is very important. And freedom to leave whenever I want, to travel wherever I want, and to express myself and to help people as much as possible if I have something to deliver to this world and to make it a better place. So yeah, that's how you find your mission. And let's say, if people ask me how, I would say that your answer comes from your mind, because if your mission comes from your heart, you would never have that question, how. You will find out the way, you will figure it out along the way. Just take the first step, and the other steps will take care of each other. So just don't overthink it, what's going to be later. Just take the first step. And that is the most important thing. Um,
Beautiful.
so, and it's beautiful when you find your mission, because indeed, you don't care about your fears anymore. Yes, you still do have your fears, but you just, okay, you acknowledge them, you accept them, but you keep going. You do not give up. That's how it
Yeah,
works. You just don't give up. Yeah.
amazing, amazing. I love that, because it's totally match what I think, what I believe. And I tell everybody, if you have a mission, nobody can stop you, because it's not about you, it's about your mission, and your mission is so much bigger than you. So amazing, amazing.
I love that you said that it's selfish to keep the knowledge to yourself, right? So
Yeah,
you should think about what impact you can make to this world, and that's the most beautiful thing.
exactly, exactly. And when you said something before, it caught my attention too. When you said sometimes people don't have like somebody to practice with, and they get like, how can I speak with a native, because I don't have anybody close to me. I live in the US, but I don't have, the opportunity to speak. And when I come back to my journey, my process, as you mentioned, I did something that I believe that everybody can do. When you are a person that you want to help somebody without nothing in charge, like, I just want to help, just give. When you give, God, or if you don't believe in God, the universe will come back with good things to you. So it's a it's a law. If you give, you receive. So I remember the first time I had a native English speaker to speak with me every day. Like, I was not paying anything. I was just creating relationship with a native, because first of all, I decided to help. with my knowledge. Somebody asks for help, I help, and I say, I'll be here if you need something. And all of a sudden, I have somebody every day that want to talk to me every day. Like, I was not asking for a tutor or a teacher in English. I was creating connection and creating relationship, friendship, and this is the best way to learn English. I think the best way is not learning by making a course or something. I think the best way is when you learn English in life. Like, I'm using the language that I have to create, to make friends, to create relationship with people, not studying for studying. So in my
Absolutely.
experience, I experienced that, and I think the best way to practice is giving. Give something, and for sure you will get something back. And yeah, this is a law, and I truly believe that.
That's the law of attraction, right? That's what you attract.
I
So,
think
and
so.
it's not always easy, when people say, okay, what is your journey looks like? It's, we have all these ups and downs, but um, the beauty of it is that, the result is rewarding. So yeah, it is difficult sometimes, but when you are a given person, so you definitely, people notice it, and you attract those beautiful situations in your life. That's for
And
sure.
this is your case when you decide to share your knowledge in English. So you are just giving to them
Yes.
information, valuable information, by the way. So, and in some point you start to receive back, right?
Absolutely, in so many ways. It's not only, because when we set a goal, we limit ourselves to, okay, this is going to be my particular outcome, right? But if you are open to any kind of, how to say, feedback from the world, so it can be rewarding in so many ways. Let's say I got
Sometimes
lots of
better than you
beautiful.
expect.
Absolutely, and even in a better way, so that you don't even expect. That's true.
Yeah.
So, and wonderful friends, wonderful connections, and money is just a bonus. It's not the main goal. It's just a naturally comes to you over time. But um, that energy that you exchange with this world is just it's priceless. That's true.
Amazing. So now tell me more about your profession, because you said that you're a tea specialist, and you're the first person that I know that work with this. So, and tell me more about this your work, and if people want to learn from you, where they can find you. Tell me more about this, please.
Absolutely. I can talk about tea for hours, and I used to do it in my native language. Now I have this goal to perform my tea ceremonies in English more often. Uh, so my tea journey began back in 2010. It was almost 14 years ago. Oh gosh, time flies so fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, during my first trip to China, I fell in love with all this tea culture. And when I got back home, I said, okay, this is my new passion. And but I was working in different field at that time because my background actually is in finance, and I was working in bank. So my background is in banking. I'll be honest with you, I was so unhappy at that point of my life because I couldn't fully unleash my creative potential. And I felt like, as I told you before, my values in my life are freedom, and I felt like there is no freedom in that field where I was working. And I've always dreamed to have, to be self-employed. And but at that point I didn't even know that I'm gonna be in the industry later. So, and when I moved to the US, I still had my 9 to 5 job here. I was working for a marketing company at first. And then I quit that job because I felt like it's not fulfilling, and I need to follow my passion, to follow my dream. And, and when I started bringing teas from tea plantations in China and Taiwan, my friends were asking me, like, where did you get those teas? We love it. And because I was sharing those teas, and I was sending those teas all over the world. I'm just that given person, I love sharing tea, especially if I love something, I cannot keep it to myself. So, and I started bringing teas, and then people started asking me, okay, could you please bring it, So I started to sell, but by request. And then it's just unfolded over time. So I just started sharing my knowledge on tea. I kept learning, and then I started performing tea ceremonies. I'm a self-taught. I just learned from my teachers who live in China and Taiwan. So it was quite a journey, but it's been over 10 years, and I don't regret. It's just beautiful. And honestly,
Are
when I took,
those
Mhm.
are those tea ceremonies in English?
I was performing in a Russian language for the Russian-speaking community here, for women's retreats, for women's circles, etc., for some kind of a private events. But then I realized that people, when I share with native speakers that I perform tea ceremonies, they're like, "Could you please do that for for our friends?" And I would always say no, because I just
Why?
wasn't sure that I would be able to explain things the way I can in Russian language. Because tea ceremony is a immersive experience, so you have to tell, it's not about visual experience, right? It's also about telling people different Zen stories, history of tea, and there is always like a interaction. People always ask questions, and you have to know how to answer those questions beautifully. It's not about small talks. There are lots of
Hmm.
things involved into the process of tea ceremony, and there is a tea meditation there where you have to, it's a very immersive experience in general, and your level of language should be very high. So I mean, it should be
You know,
so yeah.
I'm the person that I cannot see a good challenge and don't accept it. Accept it. This is an amazing chance for you to share your knowledge with natives, and they don't care about your level because they want to learn from you about tea. So this is an amazing opportunity. I can see that because you are passionate about tea, about this environment and this topic, and you could share your passion not just with Russian people, but with people from everywhere. So, man, this is a beautiful challenge. So, I don't I cannot say like do it because you know that if you should do it or not. But I can see this could be a really good challenge for you, like for this new year. So think about it.
Let me share something with you. So I accepted that challenge a year ago. So it was my very first experience performing tea ceremony in English. Those were like a short sessions for 20 minutes. It wasn't the full length of, because usually tea ceremony um, I perform for 2 hours. For a small group, 2 hours, it's a long time. And that experience in English, it was like for a short amount of time, but for more people. So it was quite interesting experience. And um, so I'm gonna perform tea ceremony in February very soon in English. It's gonna be my second attempt. So
Good.
so again, you guys, if you are in Chicago area, please join us. I mean, I would be happy to connect with you in the flesh offline. So yeah, it will
Amazing.
happen
So,
soon.
so how can we find you? Do you have an Instagram account that you speak about this, or how can you find you?
Yeah, sure. I can give you my Instagram account, and you can put it in the description box below. And I
Okay,
would love to connect. I'm always open to new connections, and Would
Yeah,
love
please
to.
just say what is your username, and I'll put in the on the screen and right below in the description too.
Sounds good. Yes, absolutely.
Is it your
And
name, or is it your
yeah,
name?
it's a mighty road, like a mighty road. So it's like a
Mighty Road.
journey. Mighty
Uh-huh.
road, yes.
Oh, good. So I'll put right below in the description if you want to know more about this topic. I don't know nothing about it, but all I promise that I will take a look and see more about this topic because it's really interesting.
Welcome, everyone's welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Would
you so
love to
much.
connect with you guys.
Thank you so much. Anna, before we leave, I just want to ask you a question that I asked for everybody that I interview. Think about a person that is in the US or not, that or just they are stuck about the English. They want to speak, but they're stuck. They don't know how to progress, how to improve that. What you should say for a person that is stuck right now, as you were when you moved to the US? What's your piece of advice? Could be just a phrase or a word, but what you should say.
I'm trying to gather my thoughts. And I think this quote by my teacher, suits here well. Just like I said, that it is difficult in the beginning, messy in the middle, and beautiful in the end. Just be patient. Everything good in life takes time and patience. Don't rush things because, and enjoy the process, because it's easy to say. I know, because I've been in your shoes and I'm still in your shoes. And I know that it's not always easy to enjoy the process itself. But if we can add a little bit of, joy into each day, and before even opening any book or any podcast, just remember, why did you start in the first place? So why? So that's magic question, why, if you ask every day, and especially if that why, again, your answer comes from heart, it's connected with your big mission. So you're not gonna be burned out, trust me. So because usually when we feel stuck, it means that we need to reflect, okay, what was why I got to this point. And if I am the author of my own life, if I created this situation that I stuck, maybe I can rewrite that story. Maybe I can change it. If I have the power to get to this point, to make mess, maybe I can create something beautiful as well. And so taking full responsibility, and remember that we are the reason behind everything what's going on in our life. Everything. So if you feel it, if you think about it, not only think about it, if you feel it with your heart that you are the reason behind everything of what's going on in your life, then you're going to understand that you are capable of changing things. And even though, I know many people who live in the United States or any English speaking country for many years, for 20 years and 30 years, and they feel like it's late. It's never late.
Yeah.
It's never late. Just start, just begin, just join any club, or I don't know, just find your way. And also another great tip I would give to myself is to learn how to learn, because very often we do lots of things and take lots of different actions that are not very effective. So try to find this this 80-20 rule, right? The 20% of your time, use it mindfully. Be mindful to your learning process so that you can get the most out of it. So that's what I'm gonna do for this year. I'm gonna, reflect on why I got stuck at this point of my life, so that I am not able to move forward. But what can I do next? Create a plan and stick with it, because discipline can be beautiful. Very often we're just, when you think about being disciplined and organized, we feel like there is lots of tension in there. But discipline can be very fun and beautiful, and you're gonna feel the improvements day by day.
Wow.
So that's the message that I can
No, I asked for something and you
share.
gave like a really, really an amazing answer. One thing that really caught my attention when you say be patient because everything that is worth takes time.
Takes time,
That
absolutely.
that blows my mind because that's it. Everything that matters and that's worth, it doesn't happen all of a sudden. It doesn't happen from the night to the other day. So it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, and these patients, very often people feel like, okay, how can I be patient? Because there is so many things going on around me.
Yeah.
But we lose patience only when we're not in the present moment, when we always think about future or we think about the past.
Anxious, right?
Absolutely. So only in the present moment we'll be able to, you know, to get the best results
Yeah,
or
for sure.
and enjoy the process.
Amazing, my friend. I could speak with you for hours about this topic because I love but I know you don't have this time. And I want to
Likewise.
say I want to say thank you so much for your inspirational conversation. And I just love it. And thank you for contributing with me in this amazing journey that I took to myself, to spread this motivation, this make people believe in themselves because everybody can achieve what they want. We just need to have the tools, and I think this podcast is a tool to help them. So thank you so much for your great contribution here with me. Thanks again. You are an amazing person, and I love to talk to you. So if
Thank
you
you
want to
so
say something
much.
before we leave, you're free to
Thank
do
you
it.
so much, Fred. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and I do remember you were challenging me to take the first step into this world of podcasts. This is, by the way, my very first podcast in my life in English. Never done this before, and I feel like I feel much better when I share. And if my words can help someone else, then as I said before, my mission is accomplished, and very grateful to share this experience with our lovely community, and I'm pretty sure that we'll get in touch again soon. So thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much.
everyone, for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. And guys, I'll put the Anna Instagram account here on screen and right below the video. So follow her and see more about this beautiful topic that it's tea. So, and see her speaking in English for sure. That is amazing. And that's it. If you didn't subscribe to the channel yet, please subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next episode. Okay? See you there, my friends. Bye-bye.